What's happening, people? It's your boy Ashley. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. So today's video I'm talking about HMO. This is a house in multiple occupancy. It's a term which refers to residential properties where common areas exist and are shared by more than one person in a household. Most HMOs have been subdivided from larger houses designed for and occupied by one family. Some housing legislation makes the decision between those buildings occupied mainly on long leases and those where the majority of the occupants are short-term tenants. So the definition of a HMO has its origin in fire safety legislation following a series of publicised preventable deaths in overcrowding buildings. In HMOs, bathrooms and kitchens, typically designated as common areas, shared by all tenants, but contractually speaking, common areas may also include stairwells, gardens, and landings. Houses may be divided into self-contained flats, bed-sitting rooms, or simple lodgings. Legally compliant HMOs are characterised by a higher standard of fireproofing after a series of deaths in overcrowded houses. According to the Campaign for Bedsit Rights, 3 people a week died in fires in houses of multiple occupancies (HMOs) between 1985 and 1991. HMOs were principally defined by the Housing Act 1985 as being a house which is occupied by persons who do not form a single household. The Local Government and Housing Act 1989 expanded the definition to include any part of a building which would not be regarded as a house and was originally constructed or subsequently adapted for occupation by a single household. The Housing Act 1985 was a consolidated act. The definition of HMO in section 345 as well. So the Housing Act 2004 introduced mandatory licensing for larger HMOs, which was defined in the Act as properties with 5 or more tenants forming more than one household, sharing facilities such as kitchen, bathroom, toilets over 3 or more floors. The Housing Act 2004 introduced a classification of HMO under Section 257 of that Act, which included self-contained flats in a converted block. This classification helps bring buildings with inadequate fire and safety regulations under the control of local authority and inspection regimes. HMO living spaces are often smaller but typically cheaper than one-bedroom flat. HMO agreements often include most utility bills within the rent, and this is because it's difficult for landlords to apportion the cost of bills to each tenant fairly, so it's also a more appealing process for potential tenants. HMO licensing was introduced in Scotland in 2000. To be granted a licence under the scheme, properties must meet certain standards, such as presence of smoke detectors, fire doors. These provisions were included in response to a fatal fire in Glasgow which had no working smoke detectors and metal bars preventing escape through a window. HMO schemes have been subsequently introduced to other parts of the UK through the legal definition of what constitutes an HMO varies between Scotland, Northern Ireland, England and Wales. Generally in the UK, a HMO has the following characteristics. At least 3 tenants live there. It has a toilet, bathroom or kitchen facilities that are shared between tenants, etc, etc. HMOs are very popular with buy-to-let investors as well, because it is believed that they have higher income generating potential more than ordinary buy-to-let properties. By splitting single properties into multiple bedsits that are each let out on separate tenancy agreements, landlords can also reduce their exposure to loss of earnings through rental arrears or voids. While HMOs may generate a slightly higher income, HMO investments, at least in heavily regulated Scotland, entail significantly higher initial costs if compared with regular buy-to-let properties due to significant costs of licensing, safety checks, certificates, fireproof and alarms, etc. But anyway, that's about everything to do with HMO. I hope this was a very informative video and this gave you insight, detail and lots of information about what a HMO exactly is, the licensing, references, the pros and cons. If you enjoyed this video and you found it at all useful or it was informative, please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.